That is a massive swing of the bat by Panthers general manager Dan Morgan. You're watching Panthers Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith. And Jaelan Phillips, you are a Carolina Panther for a record-setting deal. Carolina goes out there and addresses the edge rusher position in a massive, massive way by signing one of the top guys on the market, a guy who they believed was the best football player on the free agent market, Jaelan Phillips, edge rusher, to a 4-year, $120 million contract with $80 million guaranteed. That is a lot of money. It is record-setting money for an unrestricted free agent. Once the legal tampering period is opened, Jaelan Phillips is now the sole member that is the highest contract ever given out. This is a massive deal for Carolina, and it's a big swing by Dan Morgan because we know Jaelan Phillips has dealt with a handful of major injuries throughout his career. A lot to commit to this guy, but when he is healthy and when he's talented, he produces at a super high level, unlike anything the Panthers have along that defensive line. What's your one-word reaction to the Panthers signing Jaelan Phillips to a monster deal? Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They just put together a $30 million a year contract for an edge rusher, a guy who's going to raise the floor of this defense. What is your one-word reaction to signing Jaelan Phillips? Comment down below. My one word is proud. And that might be a little bit of a Panther pun there, but seriously, I am proud of Dan Morgan for putting his money where his mouth is. He said the Carolina Panthers were going to get aggressive in terms of attacking the edge rusher spot and the inside linebacker spot. We'll see what they do at the off-ball backer, but they really took a big-time swing by going out and getting Jaelan Phillips, a name we had talked about before on the channel as a free agent target here, somebody at the top of the list that they could go after. We knew they were going to spend big-time money, and they actually got a deal done in the opening hours of free agency. 26 years old, so still got a lot of youth left. He turns 27 in late May. Fits the Panthers' athletic profile when it comes to an edge. 6'5", 266. He's an absolute behemoth. And he had 5 sacks last season where he didn't play for a good stretch of the year in the beginning of Miami. 14 QB hits last season, 7 TFLs, 53 tackles. Like, this guy is a beast, and he makes plays. And clearly what we saw with Jaelan Phillips is he rose the floor of the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Once they made that trade for him at the deadline, they end up going out and playing much better on that side of the ball than they had all season long. Jaelan Phillips is that type of guy. Not only is he an elite pass rusher in this league, but he's a guy who can stay on the field for every single down. He can rush the passer. He can set the edge in the run. And he can also drop into coverage a little bit as well. Look at this guy's numbers. I know. It's concerning because of a few things, right? Obviously, the major injuries. He missed an entire season, basically, with a torn ACL. And the year before that, he tore his Achilles. But before that injury back in 2023, he was on a crazy type of trajectory. 6.5 sacks in 8 games. This is a guy who's had multiple seasons of 45-plus pressures, even high. I think there was one season where he had 70 pressures way back when. The Panthers didn't have a single guy that had 40 pressures on the team all season last year. They didn't have any double-digit sack guys. Jaelan Phillips, if healthy for a full season, and that's what the Panthers are banking on by giving him this contract, can easily get over that double-digit mark. I'm expecting 50-plus pressures next season. He's absolutely a floor raiser, and he can do a lot on this football field. The Panthers needed kind of a do-it-all edge. They're getting one here in Jaelan Phillips. I'm super excited to see him wearing blue, black, and silver. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, though. This is why you subscribe, because when the Panthers make moves, we're coming at you guys with a video, whether it's a massive signing like Jaelan Phillips or some of the minor ones that we'll talk about on the back half of today's show. You're going to find it right here at Panthers Today. So hit that subscribe button, turn those noties on, and we'll keep talking about Jaelan Phillips here because he comes into this Carolina Panthers team as the immediate best defender on the roster. Yes, he's going to pair alongside Derek Brown along that D-line. Yes, J.C. Horn got a $100 million contract in 2025, but Jaelan Phillips just got cashed the F out. $120 million, $80 million guaranteed. And they have a lot of faith that he can stay healthy. Like I mentioned previously, he is the player that the Panthers front office believe was the best overall player on the free agent market this offseason. And look, he now creates a pretty formidable front here for Carolina in terms of their 3-4 defensive line that they'll roll with. Nick Scorton, you expect a big-time year 2 leap out of him. Obviously, Derek Brown, one of the better defensive tackles in all of football. Turk Wharton, how's he going to develop in his second year in Carolina? Now Jaelan Phillips is added in. A'Shawn Robinson, we could be seeing a cut really, really soon to open up some more money. It would save $9 million, and it's obvious. But we haven't seen that move get made just yet, so we'll be waiting on that. And then the Panthers will probably have another hole at that nose tackle position. But, man, I'm pumped up about this deal. Like, the Panthers are clearly a serious team. Like, they're going to make big-time investments. Dan Morgan was not going to be outbid like he was last year for Milton Williams. He got this deal done in the early hours of free agency. Their number 1 player on their books. Jaelan Phillips last year was top 4 in terms of pressure rate out of guys who had 250 snaps or more. Yeah, he's legit talent out there, and I think this Panthers defense just got a whole heck of a lot better. We're looking at potentially, with more guys added here over the next few days and months, we're looking at a top 10 defense that was originally it was originally one of the worst in the league, 31-32, all the way up to 16-15 last season based on what metrics you look at. Adding a guy like Jaelan Phillips, beefing up more in the draft, I think this is going to be a potential top 10 defensive unit in all of football, headed by Ejiro Evero. Grade the Jaelan Phillips signing for me down in the comments section. A, B, C, D, or F. What do you guys got? Panthers dropping an absolute bag on an edge rusher here. 4 years, $120 million with $80 million guaranteed. What's your grade for this Jaelan Phillips signing? A, B, C, D, or F? My grade, I'm going to go with an A-. Dan Morgan, it was put up or shut up time to add a monster defensive player externally to this defense, and he went out and did it. The production level that Jaelan Phillips can provide is second to none on the free agency crop here. So in that case, I would have it as an A. But I have it as a - because of the major injuries that he's faced throughout his career. Multiple torn ACLs, torn Achilles, had to medically retire in the middle of college and then transfer when he ended up getting cleared. There's a lot of question marks here, and to commit $80 million guaranteed, that's not an easy deal to get out of. That's a lot of money committed to a guy who's missed time every season. So they're certainly swinging the bat here, signing Jaelan Phillips to that big of a deal. But if they believe he's healthy, they believe in the talent, and he's going to raise the floor of this Carolina Panthers defense, just like he did with the Philadelphia Eagles when he was traded for them back in October. The Panthers made a couple of other minor level moves to their defense and special teams in the early going of free agency. Caleb Evans is brought back on a 1-year deal, and then Robert Rochelle is also going to be brought back. We're still waiting on the full details of both of those contracts, but one thing we do know is Jaelan Phillips, the highest paid unrestricted free agent in NFL history. Hopefully it pays off. A couple other names that the Panthers were in on heading into free agency today. They've been signed as Odafe Oweh got a pretty massive deal from the Washington Commanders. Similar size profile, less injury history, but he is a little bit older than Jaelan Phillips. You're about 6 months older. Funny enough, he got drafted afterwards, but he is a little bit his elder. 4 years, $100 million with $68 guaranteed. I think Jaelan Phillips is bar none the more talented player than Odafe Oweh. He raised your floor higher than Odafe Oweh does. So I'm fine with the value that they got on a guy like that here. Only $5 million a year more. I think Jaelan Phillips is worth $5 million a year more than Odafe Oweh is. In terms of Devin Lloyd, he still remains unsigned. And I'm hearing that there are rumors around Devin Lloyd still being a possibility for the Carolina Panthers here. They need to address inside linebacker. A couple of guys have already flown off the board already. Devin Bush, Alex Anzalone got taken off the board already. A couple of other, Tremaine Edmonds was taken off the board, a name that was heavily rumored to be involved with the Carolina Panthers. He's heading to the New York Football Giants. So a couple of inside linebackers, a couple of safeties have all jumped off onto new teams here. We'll see what Carolina does in those areas. Still need to be addressed. Speaking of holes on the team now, Carolina ended up losing a free agent here, and it was a guy that we kind of all conceded that Carolina would lose over the past few days and week. Cade Mays signs with the Detroit Lions on a 3-year, $25 million contract. Now, if I'm the Carolina Panthers in a vacuum, would I have paid Cade Mays 3 years, $25 million? Absolutely. But when you consider the context of the situation, Ike Ekwonu makes decent enough money on that 5th-year option. He's not even playing. You're paying Damian Lewis big money. You're paying Robert Hunt big money. You're paying Taylor Moton big money. It's 4 out of your 5 offensive linemen. You can't play all 5. So they're going to go cheaper here in this area. Maybe address it in the draft. Maybe just bring back Austin Corbett, who was slated to be the starter before Cade Mays took over after Corbett got hurt. We will see where they end up on the offensive line. But the main idea of today's video is the Panthers swung big. Hopefully they hit. They bring in Jaelan Phillips on a 4-year, $120 million contract, $80 million guaranteed. Keep letting me know your thoughts on that in the comment section. And make sure you are subscribed here to the channel for more Panthers content as the deals come in. Any move the Panthers make, we're going to have a video for you on the channel. So subscribe, turn those notifications on. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, keep pounding.